I hope you all are doing good. So I am back again with another video on miscellaneous laws. As we all know that we have covered ज़्यादातर of the syllabus. Now we are going to start with another law and I am going to solve a few questions from this particular law itself. This is what the entire class of today will be all about. Right? So let's just start with miscellaneous laws, right? And miscellaneous laws में आज जो हम करने वाले हैं वो है legal reasoning sessions, right? Earlier also in my previous video also I have covered judicial doctrines. Today we will be talking about a few legal principles जिन पे पहले questions बने हैं CLAT में and आगे भी questions बन सकते हैं. So let's just quickly start with it. So the first legal principle that we have is rule of law. What do we mean by rule of law? We'll just understand it and we'll try to remember it, right? So the rule of law ensures that law is supreme, number one, not arbitrary power, right? Every person is subject to same law regardless of status of authority, right? So this is what rule of law says. So here we have two things to remember. Number one, that law is supreme, which means that nobody, no matter who the person is, above law. This prevents the undue usage of legality or undue usage of law, right? And the other thing is that every person is subject to the same law. I hope this is clear to everyone. Now, what are the key constitutional provisions here? Article 14, it says equality before law, which is saying the same thing, right? And equal protection of laws. Now, there was a landmark case law which was Indira Nehru Gandhi versus Rajnarayan. The famous emergency case, right? This is the case. Now, Rajnarayan challenged Indira Gandhi's elections alleging corrupt practices. Now, they both were contesting from the same seat, right? Mrs. Gandhi won and Rajnarayan, he was the one who took her to the court stating, he was claiming that her elections involved corrupt practices to them, right? Now, Parliament passed the 39th Amendment excluding Prime Minister's elections from judicial review. अब judicial review सबको याद होगा, judicial review होता था जहां पे judiciary can review executive functions. This is what judicial review was all about. Now, the judgment said that the Supreme Court struck down the amendment for violating the rule of law and the basic structure of the Constitution. Now, what was the basic structure of the Constitution? Judicial review was a part of the basic structure of the Constitution. इस law ने judicial review के purview से किसको हटा दिया? The Prime Minister. And if the Prime Minister is above law, तो simply हमारा Article 14 जो है violate होता है. At the same time, rule of law जो कहता है वो violate होता है. That is why this case law became a landmark case law for rule of law. I hope this is clear. Now, principles which were established here were that judicial review is essential and no one is above the law. I hope this is clear to everyone. Now, there is an illustration here that if a chief minister orders detention of a person without legal authority, it violates the rule of law. Why? Because he cannot order anybody to be detained, right? He cannot do that. That is beyond his powers. Secondly, if a police officer commits an offense, he must face the same trial as a citizen. ऐसा तो नहीं है just because a person is an SHO or a person is a police official, तो उस पे अगर उसने murder करा है तो he'll be set free. ऐसा तो नहीं होगा. उस पे charges तो same लगेंगे. He will be tried, right? So this is what rule of law ensures. I hope it is clear. I hope rule of law is clear to everyone. Now, moving on to the next principle, which is the principle of natural justice. अब natural justice का क्या मतलब है and कौन-कौन से provisions है जो हमें समझने पड़ेंगे, कौन-कौन से legal maxims है which carry the essence of natural law. Now, starting with the first one, that is natural justice ensures fairness in procedure, preventing bias and arbitrariness, right? Now, ऑडी अल्ट्रम पार्टम, मैंने पहले भी ये समझाया है। ऑडी अल्ट्रम पार्टम का मतलब होता है, ऑडी का मतलब होता है टू लिसन, right? The court has to listen to both the sides before coming to a conclusion. That is exactly what Audi Altrum Partem says. No person shall be condemned unheard. This is what Audi Altrum Partem says. The next one is nemo judex in causa sua, which means no one should judge their own cause. That means nobody can become a judge in its own cause. In simple words, it can be said that कोई भी अपने ही केस में जज नहीं हो सकता. And I don't mean कि literally अपना ही केस हो. यहाँ पे if a person has any sort of interest in that particular case, he or she shall never be a judge in such a case. I hope this is clear and I hope it is very quite visible to everyone. Now, the next is a case law which was Menaka Gandhi versus Union of India case law. Menaka Gandhi's passport was impounded by the passport authorities of India, right? The judgment here said that the court held that any procedure under Article 21 must be fair and reasonable. Now, what happened in this case law was that her passport was taken from her without even her being heard in the court. उनकी सुने बिना उनका पासपोर्ट उनसे ले लिया गया था. हाउ अनफेयर इज दैट, राइट? अब इसी चीज के लिए ये लैंडमार्क केस लॉ बना जहां पे ये एस्टैब्लिश हुआ दैट फेयर हियरिंग इज अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट एंड नन ऑफ द इंडिविजुअल्स कैन बी डिवॉइड ऑफ इट, राइट? किसी भी इंडिविजुअल के अगेंस्ट अगर कुछ भी डिसाइड करना है तो आप उसकी साइड भी सुनोगे पहले. दैट इज व्हाट ऑडी अल्ट्रम पार्टम आल्सो सेज. Now, if a university expels a student without giving an opportunity to defend, it violates natural justice. ऐसा तो है नहीं आप बच्चे की बात सुने बिना उसको यूनिवर्सिटी से निकाल दोगे. That is against the principle of natural justice. Secondly, a judge deciding a case involving his family breaches the rule against bias. ठीक है, अगर कोई भी जज है, in that matter not even a judge, any person, let's say the subjects are his or her own relatives, तो उसको कितना बायसनेस होगी ना उस केस में. दिस इज व्हाट इज सेड हियर एज वेल. सो नेमो जुडिक्स इन कॉजा सुआ सिंपली सेज दैट नो पर्सन शैल बी अ जज इन हिज और हर ओन केस. आई होप इट इज क्लियर. दिस वाज ऑल अबाउट प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ नेचुरल जस्टिस. नाउ मूविंग अहेड टू द थर्ड वन व्हिच इज सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर्स. सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर्स हम लोग बचपन से बढ़ते हुए आ रहे हैं. सिंस ग्रेड 6 आई बिलीव वी ऑल हैव बीन स्टडिंग सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर्स. नाउ what do we mean by separation of powers? Separation of powers means the division of powers among legislature, executive and judiciary to maintain checks and balances. This is exactly what separation of powers does. Then what is the landmark case law here? So the landmark case law is Keshav Nanda Bharti versus the state of Kerala. Right? Now, so what are the facts here? Constitutional amendments restricting property rights were challenged. What was the judgment here? The court held that separation of powers is a part of basic structure and nobody, even the parliament cannot remove this part from the constitution itself. And it was established that each organ must function within its constitutional domains. That is, the powers which are vested in them, the functions which they have to perform. They cannot just simply shirk off those powers and those functions, and they have to work according to the constitutional limits. Now, illustrations: if parliament tries to overturn a judicial verdict, it breaches separation of power, right? Secondly, if a judge passes administrative orders for executive action, it violates this doctrine. Now here we have to exclude judicial review. Right? Because judicial review is just to balance the powers of the executive and the legislature. Right? Now, और यहाँ पे जज के एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑर्डर्स के बारे में बात हो रही है. राइट? आई होप दिस इज क्लियर टू एवरीवन. चलो आगे चलते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर. अब बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर क्या होता है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का? जब मैं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन whenever I taught you guys constitution तो मैंने clearly ये चीज बताई थी कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर वो होता है जिस पार्ट को आप कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से रिमूव नहीं कर सकते, राइट? नाउ the doctrine of basic structure clearly said that parliament cannot amend the constitution to alter its essential framework. So basic structure is that essential framework जो constitution में होना बहुत important है. The landmark case law was Keshav Nanda Bharti versus the state of Kerala. Now constitutional amendments must not damage the constitution's identity. Principle established was that supremacy of constitution and fundamental features are inviolable. Inviolable का मतलब that they cannot be shocked away, they cannot be simply eliminated, right? This is what is said here. Now what are the illustration? A law abolishing judicial review would be unconstitutional as it destroys the basic structure. Secondly, a law eliminating free and fair elections would violate democratic principles, right? Now moving ahead to the next one, which is doctrine of strict and absolute liability. Absolute liability से कुछ याद आया? हमने torts करा था, law of torts करे थे, right? अब उसी से related है doctrine of strict and absolute liability. We had a case law known as Raylands versus Fletcher. If you remember the case law, do you guys remember the case law of Raylands versus Fletcher? Okay, आज का आपका task है, you have to write down the facts of Raylands versus Fletcher. In the chat box. Please write down the facts of Raylands versus Fletcher in the chat box. Now, in this case, a person keeping hazardous material is liable if they escape and cause harm. This was decided in strict liability कि अगर किसी ने अपनी प्रॉपर्टी में कुछ भी hazardous रखा हुआ है and वो hazardous object या वो hazardous gas हो सकती है, कोई object हो सकता है, कोई animal हो सकता है, it escapes from his or her property, right? फिर क्या होगा? The person will be held strictly liable. And there was another case which was absolute liability. Absolute liability क्या थी? MC Mehta versus Union of India का केस था, oleum gas leak केस था, right? Wherein it was decided that hazardous industries are absolutely liable for any harm without any exceptions. The only difference between strict liability and absolute liability is strict liability में हमारे पास exceptions होते हैं. Now, if you want to get into the details of doctrine of strict liability and absolute liability, go and watch the video of law of torts. Right? This is what you need to do. Now, the illustration here is if a factory's gas leaks and injures residents, it must pay compensation even without negligence. Secondly, if toxic waste escapes from a chemical plant and damages crops, the plant owner is absolutely liable for it. Now moving ahead to the next principle, and one of the most important principles from your environmental laws is polluters pay principle. Yes, you might have seen questions in the previous year paper from this principle, right? Now, the polluters must bear the cost of preventing and remedying environmental damage. This is what was said in polluters pay principle, and the landmark case law here was Indian Council of Enviro Legal Action versus Union of India. The facts here state that industries polluted and groundwater in Rajasthan, right? So कुछ industry थी जिससे groundwater जो था वो बहुत ज़्यादा pollute हो गया था in Rajasthan, and the case was filed against those industries, right? Now it was decided that polluters were ordered to pay compensation and the cleanup cost, which leads to prevention and remedying, right? What is the principle established here? That polluters must restore the environment at their own expense. Now, what is the illustration here? A factory dumping effluents into a river must pay for cleaning and compensating affected communities. Now, a mining company causing deforestation must reforest the area at its cost. Right? These are just examples of the principle. Next we have is a precautionary principle. Right? A precautionary principle क्या था? When environmental harm is likely का मतलब हो सकता है, precautionary measures must be taken even without complete scientific proof. अब let's say this is A. He has opened an industry. This is his new industry, right? And he feels that the waste which comes out of this industry might lead to air pollution. So he should start taking preventive measures and if in case he is not taking any preventive measures and later on he gets to know that there has been a scientific research and it was found out that just because of the waste material which was produced by his industry, the air got polluted, then he will be sued. He cannot take any sort of he cannot save himself by just saying कि अभी तक तो scientifically prove नहीं हुआ था, तो मुझे पता नहीं था कि मुझे अपने आप को save कैसे करना है, या मुझे पता नहीं था कि कैसे environment को ठीक रखना है. Right? So here, this is something that you need to remember. There was a case law of Vellore Citizen Forum versus the Union of India, wherein tanneries in Tamil Nadu polluted groundwater. Tanneries are the areas, the industries which deal with leather, right? So tanneries in Tamil Nadu, they polluted the groundwater. Now, the judgment or the court said that precautionary and polluters pay principle was upheld in this case, right? And the principle which was established was that the burden lies on industries to prove environmental safety, right? Now, here is the illustration. If a factory emission may harm air quality, the words used are may, right? Proposed, right? Now, the government can stop the operation until proven safe, right? Just because somewhere or the other the government feels that this might pollute the environment, even then they can stop the functioning of such an industry. Now, a proposed dam project must be stopped if studies show potential ecological destruction, right? So the word important for us is potential ecological destruction. I hope this is clear to everyone. Now the next one is public trust doctrine. What does this doctrine talk about? The public trust doctrine, it simply means that the state holds natural resources as trustee for the public and must protect them from exploitation, right? It is the duty of the state to protect the natural resources, the resources from being exploited. This was held by MC Mehta versus Kamal Nath case law, wherein a private resort diverted the river Beas by leasing forest land. Now, the judgment was very clear and it said that the lease was quashed, which means it held no value. The state violates its trustees' duties, and the principle which was established here was that the state is the guardian of natural resources, hence it should intervene in such matters wherein the natural resources are being exploited. Right? Now, what is the illustration here? Ab illustration kya tha? If a government leases a public beach for private hotels, it breaches the public trust doctrine. Why? Because वो एक public beach था, उसको आप private entities को नहीं दे सकते हो. Right? Secondly, selling a protected forest for a private company violates state trustees' obligations. Right? This is again one very important principle from environment law. Now, moving ahead to the next one, which is doctrine of legitimate expectation. Now, what do we mean by that? Citizens have a legitimate expectation that public authorities will act consistently with established policies or promises. There was a case law which was Navjyoti Cooperation Group Housing Society versus the Union of India. The fact stated that the government changed allotment policy without any notice. ठीक है? अब जो अलॉट होनी थी लैंड, उसकी पॉलिसी ऑल ऑफ अ सडन गवर्नमेंट ने चेंज कर दी, दैट टू विदाउट एनी नोटिस, right? The sudden change violated fairness and legitimate expectation. The principle which was upheld here was that administrative actions must be fair, consistent, and reasonable. Now, here are two more illustrations for you. Number one, if a college consistently grants attendance condonation, refusal without reason violates legitimate expectations. Second, if a public authority regularly renews licenses, arbitrary denials is unfair. ठीक है, कि कैसे deny करे? Why have they denied it? If they have denied it without any reason, that is something unfair for the citizens. Now, next is principle of vicarious liability. We have already covered vicarious liability back in law of torts. Right now, so employers are liable for acts of employees committed in the course of employment. What was the landmark case law here? State of Rajasthan versus Vidyavati. In this case law, the facts were that the government vehicle driven negligently killed a pedestrian. Right? It was held that the state was liable for it. Why? Because the person who was driving the vehicle, he was employed by the state itself. And during his course of employment, जब वो उस काम को कर रहा था, तब उससे अगर एक्सीडेंट होता है, then the employer is also liable for it, right? Now, principle established was that the government is liable for wrongful act of the employees in non-sovereign functions. Now, a delivery driver injures a pedestrian while on duty. Employer is held liable for it. The nurse administering wrong medicines negligently, the hospital is held vicariously liable. क्यों? क्योंकि during the course of employment हुआ है, right? Now, next is doctrine of res judicata, which simply says that a final decision by a competent court prevents relitigation between the same parties on the same issue. Let's say आज एक केस हाई कोर्ट में आया, हाई कोर्ट ने एक ऑर्डर दे दिया, एक जजमेंट दे दिया, the same case cannot go to the high court on the same matter in between the same parties. Right? So, a tenancy issue was relitigated after a final decision. ठीक है, एक tenancy issue पहले already decide हो चुका है, उसको फिर दोबारा से same court में ले गए. It was the case of Satyadhan Ghoshal versus Devarajan Devi. Now, the court upheld the rule of finality, which simply means that judicial certainty avoids multiplicity of suits. Now, it was the illustrations were if A sues B over land ownership and losses, A cannot sue again on the same issue. Secondly, if a tenant's eviction case is decided, it cannot be reopened on an identical ground. Right? Now, the doctrine of ultra vires, what does this mean? We all have heard of something known as Article 13. Somewhere or the other, the Article 13 also talked about something similar. Right? But let's just read what it is. Acts beyond legal authority of an individual or statutory body are void. ठीक है, Article 13 on the other hand said, अगर कोई भी law बन रहा है which is not in line with what the constitution mandates, तो वो क्या होगा? वो null and void होगा. This is what Article 13 says. So any law otherwise the constitution is held void. अब एक केस लॉ था जिसका नाम था आनंदजी हरिदास वर्सेस इंजीनियरिंग मजदूर संघ. Here the judgment said that authorities must act within the powers conferred by the statute or the law. Right? And it was established that misuse of powers and it maintains legality. Right? Such a judgment, it maintained legality. Right? Now, if a municipal council imposes tax without authority, such an act is ultra vires, that is against the law. Right? Secondly, if a ministry regulates beyond its subject matter, the regulation is invalid again. Right? I hope this is clear. Now, let's just read this and let's just try and solve this. So the first one is, in the state of Aryavrat, the chief minister exercising powers under a certain passed ordinance directed that any criticism of the state government on social media would be deemed an anti-national act punishable by imprisonment. The ordinance also empowered the Home Department to arrest anyone suspected of spreading negative propaganda without a warrant. Very important. Now, within a month, hundreds of journalists, students, and activists were detained. A public interest litigation was filed before the Arivrat High Court, contending that the ordinance violated fundamental constitutional principles. The government argued that since the law has been validly promulgated by the governor under emergency powers, it could not be challenged. The petitioners contended that the ordinance destroyed the rule of law and the separation of powers, and it placed unchecked powers in the hands of the executive. During the hearing, the court noted that under a constitutional democracy, law must be certain, just, and non-arbitrary, and the executive cannot exercise legislative or judicial powers without accountability. The petitioners cited Indira Nehru Gandhi versus Raj Narayan and Keshav Nanda Bharti versus the state of Kerala case law, emphasizing that even parliament cannot destroy its constitutional essentials, let alone the executive through the ordinance. Right? Now the entire question revolves around the validity of an ordinance, right? Which somewhere or the other violated the constitutional mandate. क्या ऐसा सा law valid है या नहीं है? This is what the entire question is about. Now, which principle is being invoked here? Now, the principle is primarily violated by Arivrat ordinances, the rule of law, right? Because here we are talking about an ordinance, right? A law which is passed by the executive. Secondly, the constitutional value is undermined when the executive makes arbitrary arrest. It is known as judicial independence, equality before law, legislative supremacy, or federalism. It is known as equality before law. Then, which case recognized the rule of law as a part of the basic structure? ये I guess सबको आंसर पता है. It is Keshav Nanda Bharti versus state of Kerala. And if the High Court strikes down the ordinance, which authority is which doctrine is applied? It is doctrine of ultra vires, जहाँ पे एक law बना which was not in line with the basic law. Hence, it is unconstitutional or ultra vires. Then, which of the following best supports the petitioner's argument? It is, what should be the answer here? It should be C. The executive cannot assume legislative powers in violation of constitutional limits. Right? जो हमने अभी पढ़ा. Right? So, this was the case law and this was all about it. Now, I have an extra case law for you guys to solve, which I want you guys to solve. And this is your homework. Wait, I am just sharing it with you. Just take a screenshot of it and try to mark down the answer, write down the answer in the chat box itself. This is the case law for you. Done? Taken a screenshot? Now these are the questions. Take a screenshot of the questions as well. Alright, so these were the questions for you, and I hope all the important provisions are clear to you, and I hope you have understood all of these, because there are chances that you might get questions from this topic, right? If you have any doubts, you can comment down in the comment section below, and please don't forget to do your homework. It is really important for you. With this, I'll end the class and I shall see you guys in the next class. Bye-bye. Take care.